Hey everybody, Steven here. A follow-up video on what's going on with my shoulder after I dislocated it and kind of the process that I go through when this unfortunately happens. It's Wednesday, it's been 2.5 weeks. This past Saturday was 2 weeks. I was gonna come into the gym and do some internal external rotation, and at that 2-week mark, usually that's about when I start doing my post-rehab to get the shoulder kind of moving again. It was feeling a little bit off, so I wanted to wait, but the opportunity came up to go rock climbing. My sister-in-law paid for all of us to go rock climbing here in Tulsa at Climb Tulsa. So I went, I was just gonna watch, and then just decided I was gonna give it a try, right? I've done it on smaller things, but I've never done it where you're actually strapped to somebody else and you have a belayer, I believe is what it's called, where somebody else is helping you. And I mean, it's a full-fledged facility and all that, so it was really, really cool. I was worried about what was gonna go on with the shoulder, but surprisingly, as long as I keep in tight with my elbows so that my serratus anterior is activated and that shoulder blade is tight and that shoulder is nice and in the socket, I was fine. So I actually had a blast. It has always been a concern that my shoulder would give me so much trouble, either one of them climbing, that I just avoided it. Unless it's like at a little park or something like that, I'll do some fun stuff, but not at this height. Because we're talking like, some of them I believe were 20 feet. And so did that, it was a blast. I mean, me and my wife are gonna go back, had a ton of fun. Like I said, as long as I kept in that safe area, I was fine. I'm not doing anything crazy, right? But it was super fun to climb. So that was fun. But today is Wednesday, and did my internal external rotation stuff today, and it felt good. So I'll continue with that for the next about 3 weeks pretty consistently. And then after that, I still like to incorporate it on upper body day, just to warm that rotator cuff up before I actually get into any heavy lifting. But right now I'll probably do it 2 to 3 times a week, just to, like I said, get that area kind of going again, get some movement in it, get that rotator cuff a little bit more stable, right? That shoulder more stable by strengthening that rotator cuff. So today was posterior chain, so we just did really, just really back stuff. So we did lat pull down and rope pulls and rack rows and one-arm rows off the functional trainer and all of that. Just trying to get that back side of the body really going so that it helps keep that shoulder also in that socket, right? And I'll focus on that pretty heavily for the next handful of months as well. Looking towards doing the Onnit Foundation certification, I believe in March, so I gotta get primed and ready for that as well. Like I said, right now I really just have this next handful of months to really prep for that and make sure that this is solid. Because the last thing I want to do is go down there and end up hurting my shoulder, right? Some of the things I do right now though, as far as the kind of layout of the workout, I did cardio for 5 minutes, I did mobility stuff, soft tissue stuff for 10 minutes. I did my punching drill with the tennis ball, and I'll have a video here pretty soon covering kind of the stuff that I do with that and some tips that you can use to help. It's a great hand-eye coordination drill. It gets the shoulders warmed up when you're just punching a tennis ball against a wall, and a lot of other cool things that it's doing because it's erratic movement patterns and just warming you up. I'd rather do that than sit on the bike like I am right now. It's just more fun to me. So, but I'll have a video hopefully out pretty soon showcasing that and the many other games that I do with a lot of the athletes that I train. So did that for about 6 to 8 minutes, then did kind of the strength training side, not crazy heavy, keep it up moderate, right? I'm not trying to agitate the shoulder or anything like that, but I still want to get a little bit of movement, get a little bit of strength back. Sticking anywhere from like 10 to 15 reps, more bodybuilding, muscle building style, hypertrophy, right? 12 to 15. Stretching at the end of each round. And then I finished with stretching and soft tissue, and then now doing the bike, and I'll do this for another, I'm at 6 minutes, so I'll probably go, till the end of the video, so I'll probably go to 10-ish minutes. I do like making sure that I'm getting that stretching and that soft tissue work in between. It feels good to just kind of get movement in. And I'll work on skill-based stuff now with my lower body. Kind of going back to that first video in this series, my lower body works, let's work on some skill stuff with that. I am happy that the shoulder was okay with the punching drill. That way I can go into doing some of that, because I tried with the client, I think 5 days after I dislocated it. There's a punching game you do with a partner where you punch it back and forth off the ground, and that it just couldn't handle it. So good to know I'm back able to do that. It's a big deal for me. As far as the structure, I'll probably move up to 2 days a week with kind of upper body stuff and still doing skill MoveNat stuff 1 to 2 times a week, and then lower body 2 times a week. Cardio fitting in when I can, either during the workout or maybe on a day I'm just not feeling the workout. I'm gonna get some type of movement in, whether that's restorative exercise, MoveNat stuff, parkour stuff, walking, right? Something, mobility work. I'm gonna move in some capacity. I try not to be static, right? Try to move as much as I can. And then incorporating stuff with my clients as well, which I'm fortunate to be able to do that as often as possible, because I'll do a warm-up game with the client while we be punching the tennis ball back and forth, and like that, I get something out of that as well. So right now, any like kind of tips, if anybody else has gone through a shoulder dislocation and you are out of that acute state, I don't know if this is your first shoulder dislocation, it's gonna take a while, right? I mean, after the first one, you're kind of out for like 6 to 9 weeks. Like, it's rough. And before you're able to do a lot of things, right? Make sure that you've gone to a professional, whether that's a doctor, a chiropractor, right? You're a physical therapist, you've gone to somebody, you're out of the acute state and you're doing things now, focusing on strengthening the front of the shoulder. I've linked videos before for the post-rehab stuff that I do personally. That's kind of the bread and butter stuff that I do. There are a lot of other things, but I'll make sure that there's a link for that video. These are just 3 of the exercises. And then I follow the rule: 1 front side, anterior part of the body, to 2 back side, to posterior when I start to work out. Focusing on the front of the shoulder, the pec, because that strength there is gonna help keep that in. Because those ligaments in the front of the shoulder, right, they form like a Z. I mean, you've torn through those, okay? They're just stretched out now, which is why you'll have frequent dislocations again. So strengthening this, building muscle there so that holds that in, but also focusing on that posterior chain, because everybody is just so weak from sitting all the time and not focusing on it. We wanna make sure that that's very, very strong also, so that it keeps all of this pulled back. We don't start sinking our shoulders forward. We're more upright, and it holds that shoulder in place better as well, okay? So kind of the big things I would kind of impart onto anybody that's gone through a shoulder dislocation. It sucks. I've been there so many times. If you've just gone through it, I mean, it does get way, way better. Promise you, it does over time. But if it's something that it's highly recurring too, you're most likely gonna be looking into surgery, which I'll hopefully get done about the next 5 years. As I've been waiting for it to get a lot better with how the surgeries go and all of that. So still holding out and focusing on what I can control. Diet, nutrition, making sure that I'm getting the nutrients I need to make sure that my muscles are strong and all that. And I'm not creating chronic inflammation by eating a lot of sugar, yada, yada. But also just focus on strengthening the areas and doing what I can on that front. Doing my post-rehab, putting myself in situations where I'm going to crawl or utilize these areas so that it can get stronger, all right? So probably do a couple more videos, maybe 2 or 3 more just along the way, showing like this is where I'm at, this is what's going on, sharing a couple tips here and there as well for anybody that has gone, like I said, through a shoulder dislocation, because I know it sucks, or goes through chronic shoulder dislocations. That might help you a little bit. But like I always say, always seek out professional help first before you're taking any of my advice, just to make sure that it's okay for you to do. And read your own body as well. Like I said, Saturday, wasn't feeling it. Like, I just wasn't feeling like it was ready for that yet, even though I did go and climb and kind of risk that. The internal, external rotation and pushing that external rotation, it just didn't feel up for it. Even when I climbed, I was keeping super tight to my body, and that's why it was okay. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. I want to continue to follow along with this video. I got a bunch of supplement reviews coming up here pretty soon, and more movement tutorial videos as well, and hopefully a couple more MoveNat workouts for you guys. So click the subscribe button for me on that if you want to follow along with all of that stuff that I pump out as well. Thank you guys so much for watching.